Ryan, when you went on America's Got Talent, how much of that material was stuff that you've been doing for a long time? And by long, let's say 6 months. I want jokes that you've been doing 6 months, or was it new material, i.e. less than 6 months old?
It was a combination of both. So the very first audition was actually like the material that I ended up using that they were really excited to see me do was from a video that I had that went viral from something I had filmed back in 2014. So a lot of those jokes were pretty much retired from my live act.
Yeah.
And they were kind of revived. I think when I did my audition, that was like the second time in about 4 years I had done any of those jokes in front of people. And then as it was going kind of forward, I did a combination of kind of pulling stuff from the archives that kind of worked together in a chunk, and then writing some new things that just happened to work. I found that they really enjoy, the judges at least, they want it to seem like everything's fresh and new. So kind of writing jokes about the AGT experience,
Right.
they really kind of they liked those a lot. So I kind of did a little bit of that, and then some stuff from the olden days that kind of just supplemented that and worked well.
I think that's a nice thing about comedy is that you can, you can write the stuff on the fly, and then you still have to try it out and work it in and go, okay, is this definitely going to work? But it's not like with magic tricks, it's very difficult to, you go, oh, I know what I want to do, and then you have to get somebody to build it. They make it wrong 4 times. You spend thousands of dollars on it. It still doesn't work. Then you make a version that does work. You put it in front of an audience, and the audience go, well, I don't care. And then you go, I know what would make this work. So you put more thousands of dollars in, and the audience go, no, that wasn't it. And I go, can you give me a hint? And they go, no, we're going to wait here and judge you silently while you try. And you try, and $12,000 later, you have 3 minutes.
Yeah, that was the thing that I found interesting about watching the other, like, the magicians that were on my season with me, is like how much they were stressing and like building stuff like up until like, an hour before we went live.
Yeah,
on
it's
television.
a nightmare. Here's how it goes.
Yes.
The people who have it easiest, and I'm going to do bunny ear quotes, easiest. The people who have it easiest are the singers who sing other songs. And here's why. Because they've already done all the hard work in learning how to sing, all right? Now, when I say easiest, I mean within the time show of the show. I'm not talking like their life up until that point, because clearly, if I could actually hold a tune, I may not be a genuine magic dragon. I may have decided to do that instead. So I'm saying, by the time you get onto the show, now everyone has all the skills that they've already done all their learning. At this point, people who have it easiest are the singers, because they're literally like, oh, I'm just going to sing this song that somebody made up and they wrote the words for, and I'm going to repeat them in a nice way. Then the comics are like, well, I have to at least write my own words, but at least I don't have to worry about a dog being shot out of a cannon and ricocheting off a small wooden hoop. And then the Magic Dragons are there just being like, I hate my life. I hate it.
Yeah, it was the worst thing. Like, once I actually figured out what jokes I was going to tell, the most stressful part I had at that point was like not accidentally cursing.
Yes.
Just like when I was up there, just like, don't get in the moment and say something about your wiener. Like, that's the only thing you have to avoid. Just
Right.
after that, you're
so
fine.
Good. Yes.
Right. There were, oh dear.
Yeah, and it is. It's a bit brutal. We talked about this the other day on our TV show, of how on the finals we were literally backstage still trying to make a magic prop work. And then you go out there and you've got 15 cameras coming at you at every angle. Everything is writing on every word and everything that he's saying. And of course, me assisting or doing whatever. But, we were up in New York. So the only thing that was going through my head was there's 6,500 people watching us right now live on top of 15 million. And this prop is going insane. Like, it's crazy, but I get it for the, winner jokes or anything like that, because as a comic on stage, improv is such a huge part of everybody's moments, and it can't slip out.
Here's a good story I
I've
never
done
told. There were these 2 kids, these like little dancers, and they were great. And were they brothers or something, or twins?
Yeah, no, they were brothers. One, like in, they weren't twins. One, I think, was like a year or two.
Yeah,
older.
they were like very similar age brothers. And they were doing this dance, this like little dance, and it was great. And when we got to the live rounds, because as you know, all the rounds before that, they're pre-recorded. And, if you make a mistake, they will edit it out because they don't want you to look bad. But when it comes to the live rounds, that's it. They can't cut anything. It's like do or die. So anyway, these kids, they're sat there and they're eating some crisps or chips or whatever you bastardized that word to be, and having a nice time. And their parents said, hey, we're just going to go. They needed to go to the shop to get something. We'll be back in like 2 minutes. So they left the room, and this singer, she got up and she crossed the room and she sat next to them and she said, so, how you feeling? And they're like, oh, yeah, we're having a great time. We just love being on the show, and it's really fun meeting all these people and these celebrities. We're having a great time. She said, yeah, it's really great, isn't it? They said, yeah, it's really great. And she said, but, the live show's tomorrow night, and that's live. So, and they're like, yeah, but, we've always wanted to perform at Radio City Music Hall, so we're very excited. She said, yeah, it's very exciting to perform here. But, if you make a mistake on the live show tomorrow, it doesn't matter how much rehearsal you've done. It's all about that one moment that will be broadcast to 15 million people. And if you make just one mistake, that's all they'll remember you for. They won't have seen any of the other perfect practices you did. They will just remember that one single mistake that you do on live television in front of all of those judges who will all be looking at you if you make a single mistake. Just one mistake.
That's brutal.
And the kids are like, well, I guess we haven't really thought about it like that. And at that moment, their parents came back in, and the girl scrambled. She scampered away back into the darkness, and the kids were just there shaking and shaking while the parents were like, what happened? We were gone for like 2 minutes. Brutal. Welcome to America's Got Talent.
It's horrible. And she's an adult.
I love it.
And I think they were like maybe 8 and 7, 9.
Yeah.
And they were tiny. And I'm like, wow. Like, seriously?
Yeah. One thing I was happy about, at least from what I saw, everyone in our season, as like it kind of was going forward into the live shows, everyone was super supportive. I didn't see any of that.
Oh, that's a shame.
Per se.
You really missed out.
Good.
Because that was beautiful.
But yeah, the live shows did scare me a little bit, and they didn't bother me at first. Because obviously once you get through the judge cuts, you have a little bit of time before any of that actually airs. It was when I saw how things were edited, that's what made me worry about the live shows, because I won't get into too many specifics, but I had to redo a line after my audition originally.
Yeah.
Because kind of what you're talking about, like when you're a comedian, you kind of do what the audience does, and I got like a standing ovation in the middle of my last joke. So I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to top that, so I'm not going to say this last line. And then I quickly learned that TV doesn't work that way. And they're like, no, we want that last line.
Yep.
So I had to go back out and do it. And that kind of got in my head later once I saw the edit of everything, that I was like, oh, yeah, I don't get that option during the live shows. You have to nail it. So it added an extra little bit of stress.
I am never better than when I am pre-recorded and cut to within an inch of my life. We did this Christmas show it was me, Penn and Teller, right? And it was the America's Got Talent holiday special or something. So we had this routine where Teller would show a box empty, and then we would take all this stuff out of the box, and there were all these jokes that went with it. And Penn and I wrote the script, and it was like back and forth, like, almost like an Abbott and Costello bit, back and forth, back and forth. And it was very funny, and it was very tight on page. So we go to do it, and we began performing it, and you could have heard a pin drop. There was nothing but incomprehension from the audience and the judges. Nothing. And Penn and I are going through this back and forth, and we, finished by producing a trick to nothing. To just like 9-year-olds in the audience going, who are these? Why is the Grinch early? It's July. Why are we doing a holiday show? And so Jason, who is the executive producer, came up to
and I love Jason, by the way. He deserves the love. He's fantastic.
They're all the greatest down there. He came up to us and he was like, "Hey, you guys want to do that again?" And we were like, "Yeah, Jason, we want to do it again." So we did it again to absolute nothing. Now, Alex, in a minute, I'm going to ask to throw to the video, so let's pull her up. We did it again to absolute nothing. Pin drop, nothing. Just total, the absence of reaction from not only the audience, but even the judges were like, "We can't help you here. We don't know what we're doing." But Penn and I are like, "I'm sure this is funny." I think like when you write this down on paper, I thought we were laughing about this. So we just went, okay, well, that's it. We're going to leave now. And we went home. And then 6 months later, they made the show and they edited it. And what they showed, is that right?
What they showed.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, what they
showed.
Well, I mean, that's
what they aired. What they
aired is
very
better,
professional, Piff.
Oh,
Thank you.
Lord.
Find a different word for it.
What
they aired bears so little relation to the experience of the audience members. Alex, do you have it here? All right, we're gonna show it to you now. You see, now when Penn, Teller, and I performed it, it looked a lot different to that.
Yeah.
But when they edit it together, it's almost unrecognizable.
His look like that.
Yeah, all right.
And yours didn't.
Yeah, let's see that. So yours looked and felt like that when you did it, didn't it, Ryan?
Oh, what was that?
When you performed, that was an accurate representation
of the amazing
of your actual performance.
More or less, yes.
Yeah, they stood up for you.
They cut out one of the standing ovations. I don't want to rub it in or anything.
No,
they actually did cut out.
They stood
a
up
standing ovation. I got
multiple
in the middle
times
of the act, so.
And they laughed, and they were overjoyed with your experience. Well, let's watch me and Penn and Teller.
That looks fantastic.
Well, let me tell you, if you were there, you would not be thinking that. You would be like, wow, how are they going to rescue that? When they did that, I was like, okay, because the pre-recorded rounds that I did, like you did, like everyone who made it through to the later rounds, they all went well, and then they edited them to make them look even better. And all that means is they just made them quicker. They didn't add in anything extra. Whereas in that, they literally took it apart and rebuilt it from scratch.